Welcome everybody. Today we're going to be doing a Yin Yoga flow. So we're going to do a little bit longer of a class today. This class is going to be focused around just waking up in the morning, really getting into those bigger joints and connective tissues, into the hips. So it's something that most of it you could probably do in your bed. But if you want to, you can roll out a mat or find a good space on the carpet, or maybe just roll out a blanket so that it's kind of like the size and shape of your mat. And for this class, we'll want to have ideally 2 blocks, but I know a lot of us don't, have access to regular studio props. So if you don't have 2 blocks, you can either maybe find 2 books that are similar size, or if you want to just grab 2 blankets instead, and then you'll fold them so that they're like this, and then you can fold them one more time, and that's gonna be about the same height as a block anyway, and a little bit softer for you. So either 2 blocks and 1 blanket, or just 2 blankets is all you need for today. So we're gonna start on our backs. So coming down onto your back, grab your blocks or blankets and have them nearby. I'm going to have them, if it's blocks, have them on their lowest setting. And you're going to put them down by your lower body. Taking the soles of the feet onto the ground, you're going to draw your feet to touch. And then allow the knees to fall out wide. So the blocks are here to support so that you can really relax into the hips. So we want to focus on really letting go. So having those blocks allows less strain. So maybe if you're a little less flexible, having the blocks or blankets underneath allows the body to completely relax without any strain. So once you find your way into this reclined butterfly or Supta Baddha Konasana, you can either rest your hands on your hips, take one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart, or to bring in more openness, you can relax the arms down by the sides with the palms facing up towards the sky. As you find relaxation and ease in this pose, tune into your breath. Simply begin to notice the length of your inhales. Become aware of where the breath is filling in the body. Notice the sensation of the breath as it enters and exits the nose. And with every breath that passes, deepen into the space of ease. Letting go of all of the tension in your body. Softening the muscles, and entering into a space of surrender. In Yin Yoga, we invite in surrender of the muscles or the more active parts of our body in order to give love, space, and strength to the connective tissues, to the joints, to the fascia. Because these tissues are different than our muscles, It takes slowness and surrender to access and work them. So when we bring yin into our yoga practice, we are bringing more health to these joints and connective tissues, increasing synovial fluid to lubricate the joints, and combating the process of aging by creating more length in those deeper spaces that need it. Easing into this space for 3 more breaths. And then slowly use the hands underneath the thighs to guide the knees up. Moving the blocks away from you, maybe kicking them out away with your heels. Let's take the feet about mat distance apart and draw the knees into touch. So the feet are on the floor, the knees are bent, and you're creating a triangle with your shins. So the feet are at the outer edges, or they're wider, and the knees are falling in. And just notice what this stretch, this pose brings. Breathing into the space, the length in the outer hips and the low back. And then gently guide the knees into your chest. Giving yourself a big hug, rock from side to side. Coming back to neutral, extend the legs long, heels find the earth, arms reach up overhead, so you're stretching long from fingertips to toes. Big stretch, so reach far as if you could, extend beyond the limits of your body. And then relax that stretch. So soften the elbows, relax into the legs, feel the feet fall out to the sides. We're gonna walk our hands, shoulders, and feet over to the left side. So you can start with the heels, just start to walk the heels over to the left. And as you start to move, keep your whole back body grounded on the earth. So don't let that right hip start to pop up, but you're thinking about making a big banana shape on the right side of your body. So once you find your feet towards the left, then begin to walk your hands and use your head to maybe shift your shoulders, pressing the back of the head into the ground, to move your shoulders over to the left. As you find this banana shape soften, so relax into your quadriceps, relax into your core, soften the elbows so that the arms can rest on the earth without strain. And it's okay if your elbows are lifted, mine are too, just as long as you're feeling completely relaxed. Close the eyes here. And if you want to add a little extra, you can take your right ankle and cross it over top of your left ankle. If you take that cross, just make sure that right hip, right glute stay rooted on the ground. And then use this time and your breath to soften. From your right pinky finger all the way to your right pinky toe, creating length. Easing into surrender. Soften the muscles in your face, around the eyes, your jaw. Relax the shoulders, feel them melt into the ground. Feel the glutes, the hamstrings relax. With every breath, you soften so much so that it feels like you could seep into the ground that supports you. As you find a little more length, a little more surrender, if you feel you could use a little deeper stretch, maybe you found some space to walk the feet or shoulders and hands a little more to the left. Continue to find awareness of your breath. With the softness of the body, softening and deepening the breath. And if tension creeps its way back in, that's okay. Just send awareness there. Send the message to relax. It's okay to let go. And ease deeper into stillness for 3 more breaths. And very mindfully, as slowly as you can, start to move your way back. As you move, you may notice deep sensation in the right side of your body as you shift the hands, feet, and shoulders back to center. As you find your way there, take the arms down by the sides and just relax here for a moment, completely aware of your body. Notice what sensations are coming and going. Finding this awareness from a softer space, without judgment, but just simply being aware. To the other side. So again, reach arms overhead, but stretch it long, maybe pedal the feet, reaching one toe longer than the other as you stretch from side to side, and then soften your stretch. Begin to walk the feet over to your right, again keeping the hips completely grounded on the earth. Once you find your feet where they're going to land, then you'll walk your hands and your shoulders over to the right as well, creating that banana shape on your other side. Both shoulder blades are rooted onto the earth, both hips relaxing. Begin to soften the elbows, soften your core. Feel the shoulders relax. Relax into the feet and ankles. And And then maybe if it feels right, we'll take that left ankle on top of the right, but only if that left hip can stay rooted on the ground. Close the eyes if you haven't already and dive deep into the sensations within. Scan your body for tension. And if you find it, let it go. Breathe it away. Feel the breath opening and expanding the left lung, creating space between the left ribs. Breathing ease, space, and length all the way along the left side of your body. And know that in Yin, our intention is to find a different kind of edge. In our Yang Yoga or Vinyasa or Hatha flows, we look for those edges that we can sit in engaged, moving to that point where we know our body can, but sometimes our mind falters. But with Yin, the way we approach the edge is with softness. So we find that space where we can meet deep sensation, where we can meet that sensation, but instead of fighting it with tension or engagement, we can surrender into it. So if you are finding any strain that you can't soften around, you can always back out of the pose slightly so that you can. And know there should never be any pinching or pain, but rather deep sensation. Maintaining that softness of the breath, the body, and the mind. If you have found a little more space or length to deepen, maybe walk the hands, feet, and shoulders to your right a little more, and then soften here for 3 more breaths. Very slowly, so as not to shock the system, walking hands, feet, and shoulders back to the center of your mat, uncrossing the ankles. Reach the arms up overhead and toes below, and then relax the arms down by the sides, palms face up, and just notice. Become aware of the right and left sides of your body. Awareness without judgment, but rather softness and acceptance. And reaching the arms back overhead, let's take one more big stretch, reaching as long as you can. And then exhale, take the knees into the chest, give yourself a big hug, rock from side to side. do a few movements that don't exactly qualify as yin, but we're gonna slowly open up into the hips a little. So keeping your right knee hugged into the chest, extend the left leg long onto your mat. So the heel finds its way onto the ground. Hug that right knee in and up towards your right armpit. As you hug that knee in, kick your heel down and away from you towards any wall that is maybe in front of you, as if you're trying to stamp your foot on the closest wall ahead. Feeling that length in the left side of your low back, the opening in the left hip flexor. And then soften that left leg, left foot, and let's just take circles with that right knee. So guiding the knee 3 times in one direction, and then 3 in the other. Big circles. You can use your hands as guidance. Hugging the knee back in. Let's plant that left foot onto the ground to start for this next pose. We're going to take a half happy baby. So left foot, sole of the foot is planted on the ground, knee is bent, and then you're going to kick your right foot up towards the sky, but bend into the knee. So I like to take your right hand, take my right hand, take it into the knee, and then draw the knee out, but keep the foot flat so that it's almost as if it would stamp on the ceiling if you pushed it straight up. So you want to take the knee wide, and then you'll reach your right hand inside that right knee, and then either grab onto the outside of your right ankle, or you can grab onto the outside of your right foot. As you find that, you're going to press your fingers into the bottom of the foot. Draw that knee towards the outside of your body, towards the earth. And if you want to deepen the stretch, instead of having that left foot planted on the ground, you can extend it long. If you extend the left leg long, play with kicking through the heel. So flex that left foot and kick towards the wall in front of you as you press your right hand into the foot, drawing the knee towards the ground. So this isn't yin because we are engaging the muscles, but I wanted to add in a little bit more to open up the hips this morning. And then slowly release. So let go of the foot. Let's hug both knees back into the chest. Circle the knees in opposite directions. So right hand on right knee, left hand on left. Draw the knees in towards the chest, away from each other, out and down, and then back in. So big opposing circles, finding that range of movement of your hips. And then move the other way with your circles. And hugging the knees back in. We'll switch sides. So take the left knee in, press that right heel away, straightening into the leg. The heel is on the earth, so it's not hovering, it's all the way down and relaxed onto the ground. But you're kicking energetically through the heel as if you could kick a hole in the wall in front of you. Draw that left knee into the chest and then towards your left armpit. So holding here just for a few breaths. Just feel the sensation. Draw awareness into your hips, into the right low back, maybe finding some space there. And then we'll draw the knee into circles so you can relax the flexion of your right foot. Draw that left knee using the hands to guide. 3 circles in one direction, and then we'll switch sides. And switching if you haven't already, moving 3 in the opposite way. then hug that knee back in. So we'll move into that half happy baby on this side. So stamp your right foot onto the ground, bending into the knee. We'll take that left foot and point the bottom of your foot up towards the sky. Open up that left knee, so draw it out towards your outer ribs. Maybe taking that left hand to the inside of the knee crease to help to start. Once you find that, you can either keep the hand there, or if you want to reach up, arm is on the inside of the knee, hand grabs onto the outside of the ankle or foot. As you find that, pressing the hand into the foot, feel that deep opening into the left hip. And then again, if you want a deeper stretch, you can lengthen that right leg long and kick through the heel. And to feel a little more grounding, kick deeper through that heel. So flexing and kicking through the heel, or take that right hand on top of that right hip. And just breathing here, finding awareness, maybe feeling sensation even into the hamstrings. Breathing space into any sensation you feel. And then slowly release. Take both knees back into the chest. Rock from side to side. Maybe take those opposing circles again if you'd like to open up into those hip joints even more. Now we're going to move into what's called shoelace, but it's going to be the reclined version of this pose. So take both soles of the feet onto the ground. You're going to cross your right thigh all the way over top of your left. So you're not crossing at the ankle, but you're crossing the whole thigh over top, so the knees are more so crossed. Once you find that, draw both knees in towards the chest. And maybe this is enough for you, and that's okay. So feel into sensation. See if you can relax around it. This is going to be more of a yin pose. So remembering as we move into it, if you find that point that you can't relax around, move back a step. So moving on, you can either grab with your left hand to your right ankle. So remember your legs are crossed. So the closest hand to the ankle. And then right hand to left ankle, left hand to right ankle. So it's to the closest one. So if you just reach down, it'd be the closest ankle that you can find. So relax the shoulders into the earth. See if you can soften and lengthen the low back down into the ground. If you want to deepen the stretch, flex into the feet and you'll grab onto the outer edges of the feet. Now, if you find this and your shoulders are lifted off the ground and you're completely rounding into the back, come back to just grabbing onto the knees. The shoulders should be able to relax onto the ground. The low back should be able to root down. And you can engage gently by pulling into the feet towards the body. Breathing into your outer hips. With every breath in and out, you soften a little more into the space, and maybe that softness draws you deeper. Take 3 more breaths here. And then slowly releasing the feet, the ankles, or the knees. Keep the legs crossed. Just draw the knees over the hips. Take the arms out into a T, and then you're gonna drop your knees to the left. As you drop your knees to the left, maybe shift your hips back. So using the feet into the ground to lift the hips and shift them towards the right edge of your mat. So towards the edge behind you. If the crossing of the legs is too much, remember the focus of yin is to soften. So you can uncross and just stack the right knee on top of the left. As you start to find softness and ease here, that right shoulder drawing towards the earth, body melting towards the ground with every breath. You can deepen the stretch in your right shoulder by starting to move that right hand as though it were the hand of a clock, moving it up towards noon, which would be your head. So it's going to stop at around 10 or 11. So add a diagonal. And if you move your arm up, remember to keep that right shoulder soft. If the neck allows, maybe the gaze will float to your right. And at any time, if this becomes too uncomfortable to soften, again, remember you can come back or you can uncross the legs and stack one on top of the other, finding that same twist, but a little less intense. We'll take 5 more breaths here. After that 5th breath, gently engaging into your core, maybe using the feet against the floor to draw the knees back up to center, uncross the legs, take the feet onto the ground, shift the hips back into alignment with your spine, and just drop the knees from right to left, taking windshield wipers with the feet, or the knees rather. And then slowly coming back to neutral. Taking both feet back onto the ground, knees bent. We'll cross that left thigh all the way over top of your right. So again, remembering we're crossing at the knees here rather than ankle over top of thigh. Draw both knees in towards the body. So again, you can just stop here. If this is where you find the deepest sensation that you're able to maintain softness, then stay here. If you're able to move deeper, begin to reach the arms down by the sides towards the ankles that are on that side now. So left hand to right ankle, right hand to left ankle. Staying here for a moment just to draw awareness of the body. If you're able to maintain deep softness and you want to move further, then you'll flex into the feet, grabbing onto the outer edges. As you grab onto the outer edges, soften your shoulders towards the ground and you'll automatically notice that that will deepen the stretch. your outer hips once more. See if you can release any undue stress or tension you feel. Breathing into ease. Finding surrender. As you find more space, maybe you bend a little into the elbows to draw the feet even closer towards the body. So the feet are out towards the side, and the more that you draw them in, the more you'll feel the stretch. Sending love and ease to that outer right hip. Allow the low back to soften into the ground. The shoulders to relax. And then ever so slowly releasing the grip of the feet, ankles, or knees. Let's take that right toe down to the earth first this time so we can adjust the hips first. So right foot finds its rooting. Lift the hips off the ground. Shift them towards the left side of your mat. Draw the arms out into a T. Draw the knees over the hips and then lower the knees to your right this time. As you lower the knees to the right, draw awareness. The side may be a little different than the last. So if you're finding it hard to relax, uncross the legs and just stack the left knee on top of the right in a reclined twist. And options to deepen. You can begin to sweep that left arm as if it were a hand of a clock, reaching up towards about 1 or 2. From there, soften the elbow. Feel the softness in that left side of your chest. Relax into that left shoulder. And maybe take the gaze towards your left if the neck allows. Softening here. Allow every breath to sweep away tension that you feel along the spine, in the shoulders, in the hips. Letting it go. And then so slowly, as slow as you can move, taking the feet against the ground, slight engagement of the core to draw the knees back up, shift the hips back to center, relax the arms a little more down by the sides, take gentle windshield wipers with the knees from right to left. Coming back to neutral. Roll onto your right or left side. We're going to slowly make your way up to a seated position. No rush to get there. Make sure you're honoring your body as you move. So once you find your way up into a comfortable seat, if you are on a mat, I like to face the long edge of my mat. So shifting to face the long edge, we're gonna keep your left foot in and extend the right leg long. So this is what we call half dragonfly. But instead of in yang, when we flex the feet and we engage the quadriceps and then try to reach and pull towards our destination, we want to soften. So relax into the quad, maybe shake or wiggle that foot in and out so you can fully relax into the hip, the quads, the hamstrings. Options for this pose as well, if you have a tendency to round backward, or if even just sitting up right here is difficult for you, you can take a blanket, you can fold it either once or twice over like a hot dog, and then you can place it under your seat so that you're sitting on the very edge. So I'll just reposition just so you can see. So what I mean by sitting on the edge is when you sit back, it's not going to help that rounding. But if you sit towards the front of that folded edge and you shift forward, see how my hips shift back so that lengthens into the low back. So if you want to find that, you'll find your blanket under your seat. And if you have sensitive knees and you feel any strain right now, you can also put a rolled or folded blanket underneath your right knee. So once you find your position, we're going to twist ever so gently towards that right extended leg. So taking your left hand to the inside and right hand back behind you. And then slowly, we'll begin to walk the hands towards that foot. So remember, we're not going to try to pull and reach and force our way into this pose because we want to work deeper into the connective tissues and joints. So the way I like to approach these forward folds is you find your edge. You find that point of sensation where your muscles just begin to engage, and then you relax them completely. So you start by lengthening into the stretch, but once you find that, we're actually going to round. So if you find your stretch, begin to round into the shoulders, allow the head to drop down. If you have a block or blankets and you want to take them underneath your head, you can have it on your shin or on the earth. Or if you don't have props, maybe just take your elbow onto your right leg, on your thigh or your shin, and you can just drop your head into it. So the goal is to remain as relaxed as possible. Our joints and connective tissues are more dense than our muscles. So with the density and stillness of these tissues, it requires an approach of slowness, of ease and surrender. So finding that space of surrender, finding your breath, noticing the sensations in your body. Feeling the stretch in the left side of your low back. Feeling and allowing the opening in your right hip. Relaxing into your right hamstring. With every breath, maybe you notice you inch ever so slowly closer towards the ground. And this progress is not progress of force, but progress of grace and ease. Take one more breath here. And then moving ever so slowly, use the hands to guide your way back up. You may notice a deeper sensation as you exit this pose than you did in ones before. I know I do. So just come upright first. Turn the spine back to neutral. Become aware of the sensations that you feel within. Close the eyes. And then we'll remove the blanket. I have some people joining me in my class today, so if space does not allow, this might not work. But we'll take your left hand back behind you. So same hand is behind you as the knee that is bent. Right hand extends forward. And you're going to lift your hips. So press into that hand that supports you. Lift your hips, come onto your left shin. Plant your right foot down and reach up and back. And exhale, we'll come back down. Inhale, lift and reach. Being mindful if you have any neighbors in your class. Exhale, release, back down. Let's do one more time, lifting the hips as high as they can go. Oh, feeling that nice opening, and then exhale, coming back down. And then we'll take that blanket back if you had it. Switch out the legs. So take the left or right leg in, left leg long. Taking that blanket again, sitting on the edge of it if you need. It's not necessary. If you have more of that ability to fold forward easily, then you can feel free to omit the blanket. And then just maybe wiggle your way into this pose. Relax into the torso. Again, wiggle that left foot in and out to relax into the quadriceps, into the hamstrings and the hips. And then soften the feet. So don't flex into the feet, but completely relax the toes and allow the toes to just fall outward. And then that gentle twist, taking your left hand outside of your left leg, right hand to the inside, looking towards that left leg. Slowly begin to lean towards it. And again, once you find that space where maybe your thigh starts to engage, starts to tighten, or maybe it's your hamstring, whatever it is, as soon as you find that space, that's where you soften. So allow the shoulders to relax. Again, if you want support for the head, if you have a couple blocks, or maybe a bolster if you're lucky, if you have one at home. You can take one under the head, or again, you can just use your own body as a prop. So you can take the elbow to the thigh, and then just take the forehead into the hand. Whatever variation you find, come back to that softness immediately. Maybe notice if your right hip is starting to tense and relax into that. Notice if you have any tension in your jaw, in your face. Is there any tension present in your left quadricep? In your left hamstring? Can you soften into your belly? Turning to your breath and awareness with every step, with every inch closer that you grow towards the ground. Come back to awareness. What do you feel? And how can you soften into it more? And slowly walk the hands back, moving with ease so as not to shock any of those joints or connective tissues we're working so deeply into. Coming back to center, untwisting the spine. Take a moment just to notice, maybe give a little wiggle here. Notice any sensation you feel in the low back and the hips. And then removing your blanket off to the side. Take your right hand back behind you. Left hand reaches long out in front of you. As you inhale, you're going to lift those hips, press into that right hand, roll onto your right shin, and reach your left fingertips back behind you overhead. Exhale, come back down. Hips find the earth. Inhale, lifting, reaching long. Feel that opening in the hip flexors. Exhale, release. And one more. Inhale, reach it long. And exhale, coming back down. And crossing at the ankles. Let's roll over onto hands and knees. So you can roll up over and then shift so that you're on the right or in the right direction on your mat. And let's just do a little movement to wake up the spine. Inhale as you tilt the tailbone towards the sky. Drop the belly towards the earth. Open up the heart and lift the gaze. Exhale, round the tailbone down and under. Belly button goes towards the sky, chin to chest. Inhale, drop and open into your cow. Exhale, press and round into cat. Moving through these slowly at the pace of your breath. And then we'll walk the hands a little further forward so they're not right under the shoulders, but a little further in front. Take the knees a little bit wider than hip distance. Inhale, you're going to draw that right hip down towards your right wrist. Left hip finds the ground, and then you circle it back. So left hip draws to the left and back towards your heels. Inhale to the right and forward, dropping the hips. As you drop the hips, open the heart, roll the shoulders back. Then exhale, sink it back. Let's take 2 more times this direction. Tuning into your breath. Opening into the body. And then we'll switch sides. So inhale, your left hip draws out to the left towards that left wrist. Drop the right hip and then shift right hip back and towards the heels. Big circles. And maybe you add in the head a little bit here. As you shift back, you drop the head down. As you shift forward, maybe you open and reach or lift the gaze towards the sky. And then coming back to neutral. Let's take your left foot back behind you. And again, as you can see, this isn't yin anymore. We're opening a little bit more into the body system, so we're a little more engaged. As you exhale, you're going to sweep that left foot all the way out and around and land it on the outside of your left hand. So sinking into a low lunge, then we'll take that left hand to frame the foot, so on the outside of the left foot. If you'd like, you can take blocks during this sequence. Otherwise, finding those blankets would be helpful here. It's not necessary, but just an option to deepen or make the pose more easier. So deepening the stretch first. Let's take those hips towards that left heel. Your right knee is above, or your left knee is above your left ankle, sinking the hips down. If you have the blocks, you can press away into them, or if you want to deepen the stretch even more, you can interlace your fingers on top of your left thigh, reaching the crown of the head towards the sky. We're not going to hold this pose as long as the other poses, and at any point, if you want to take a blanket beneath that back knee, you can for a little more support as well. We'll just take 5 breaths in this stretch. Finding ease, softening into the hips, trusting the strength of your bones so that you can remove the strength of your muscles to dive into those connective tissues. And taking your hands back down onto the blocks or the mat, straighten into your left leg. And if you have your hands on blocks, you can shift them to a higher setting and deepen the stretch by keeping your hands on the blocks and reaching them away so you're finding length in your spine. If you don't have blocks or support, then just take your hands onto the ground directly beneath your shoulders. So finding that support. Breathe into your left hamstring. Maybe bend slightly into your left knee if your hamstring is really tight. And that will help you to find this stretch and still get the benefit without straining or hurting yourself. And we're going to flow a little bit forward and back between these two stretches. So begin to bend into the knee again, planting the foot on the ground. Maybe bring the hands on top of the thigh on your inhale. On your exhale, the hands find the ground or the blocks, and you straighten your left leg, reach the heart towards the toes. Inhale, deep bend into the knee, maybe hands on the earth, hands on the thighs. Exhale, sinking it back. Inhale, coming forward and up. Exhale, sinking it back. Last one, coming forward. Inhale. Exhale, sink it back. If you're finding your knees a little sensitive right now, just take a moment right now to place a blanket underneath it so you're more supportive of your knees. And then from this half split, you're going to turn, so take both your hands towards the right edge of your mat. And then turn your right foot back behind towards the back, what would now be the back edge of your mat, but the other long edge. Plant your foot onto the ground, pointing the toes towards the long edge, so towards the edge that you're putting your hands towards. And then we're going to move through a couple cat-cows in this varied position. So inhale, drop the belly, lift the tailbone, lift the gaze, open the heart. Exhale, press into the ground, round the tailbone under, chin to chest. Inhale, drop and open. Exhale, press and round. One more time. Inhale, opening up. Exhale, press and round. And then take that left knee next to the right. Let's take a few big circles with your rib cage. So as if you were a big cement truck, drop your ribs down towards the ground. Draw them towards the left and then up towards the sky. Then over to the right, down towards the ground. Ribs draw to the left and up towards the sky. Now switch directions. Ribs to the left, down towards the ground. Then to the right and up towards the sky. So you're imagining your torso is inside of a big barrel and you're trying to touch every side of that barrel with your ribs. And then coming back to a neutral tabletop. Let's take that right foot out to the right. So now we're moving into the other side. Adjusting as you need to if you're in a class of multiple people. But facing the long edge of your mat. So the right toes are facing towards the long edge. Hands are planted on the ground. That left hip is directly above the left knee. So make sure this knee isn't splayed out to the side, but it's supporting you directly under the body. Inhale, lift the tailbone towards the sky, drop the belly, open up the heart, lift the gaze. Exhale, round, draw the tailbone under, belly button towards the sky, chin to chest. Inhale, drop and open. Exhale, press and round. Doing 2 more rounds of these buried cat-cows. Maybe noticing the difference that you feel in this position, working more into the hip flexors. And then coming back to a neutral spine. We're gonna pivot, and if you have blocks, I'd suggest grabbing them because we're gonna pivot towards your right. So start to pivot towards your right, walking the hands towards that right foot. As you do, you're gonna spin that left foot back behind so you're finding a lunge. So deep bend first. Find that right knee directly above the ankle. Sink those hips down and forward. So if you're finding maybe a 90-degree angle and you're not really feeling much here, move that foot further forward so you can deepen into the stretch. So again, you can take the hands onto the earth, onto blocks, books, blankets, whatever you have at home, or to deepen the stretch more fully, you can interlace the fingers on top of the thigh and press the thigh away to lift the crown of the head tall. As you lift taller into the torso, sink the hips down towards that right heel. And feel softness here. So again, trust the support of your bones. Try to release as much tension as you can from the muscles. Breathing space into your body with every breath. Just 2 more breaths here.
Placing your hands on the blocks or on the mat, begin to straighten into your right leg, drawing the hips over your left knee, coming into half split on the right side. And just as on the other side, you have options here to deepen the stretch in your hamstring, as well as lengthen the spine and open the shoulders. You can Place your hands on blocks and walk them forward towards your right foot or even past it, and soften the heart down towards the leg. If you don't have blocks, or if this is too much on the hamstring or the shoulders, you can take your hands underneath your shoulders, much like a tabletop position. Maybe take a slight bend into your right knee to soften the stretch in the hamstring, and allow the heart to reach towards the toes, allow the head to soften. And breathing here, creating space into your right hamstring, softening. And then slowly beginning to shift towards the lunge again for our flow. As you inhale, you come forward, bending into your right knee. Hands either come on top of the right thigh or stay on the mat. And as you exhale, the hips shift back, returning to half split. Inhale to draw forward and up, opening into the heart, rolling the shoulders down the back. Exhale, shifting back into half split, stretching into the hamstring. Continuing one more time, forward and back. And after your half split, inhale, coming forward, bending into your right knee. This time, both hands find the mat on the inside of your right foot. And then lifting your right foot, drawing the knee out and back to come into a tabletop on hands and knees. And just begin to find organic movement, maybe a cat-cow. Or you can begin to shift the hips from right to left, dropping from one side to the other, feeling the stretch in the outer hips as you move.
And then coming back to a neutral tabletop. Take the knees wide, toes to touch. Relax the hips back to meet the heels. Reach the arms out long, finding your child's pose. If child's pose is too much, you can always take a block or two underneath the seat so that you're not sitting so deeply into the hips. Or you can always find a blanket between the heels and the hips as well. And just take a few breaths here. Relaxing and finding ease in your body. And then when you're ready, slowly walk the hands back. Coming to sitting upright on your heels, or if sitting on your heels and bending into the knees like this is too much, you can relax the hips onto the ground and find a cross-legged seat. So we'll just end with some breath. Taking the hands face down on top of the thighs. Lifting tall through the crown of the head. Relax the shoulders down the back. If you want to move into or take Shavasana at this point, you are more than welcome to lay down on your backs and find that last bit of surrender and integration. I'd like to invite in a heart-opening breath. And this is just a breath that will take with an energetic perception of where the inhales and exhales are coming from, helping you to be more connected as you move through your day, to feel more centered into your heart. So breathing deep in through the nose, fill the body with the breath, and then exhale through the nose, releasing all the air, slow, deep breaths in and out. And once you've found that deepness of breath, I want you to imagine that every breath you take in, you're inhaling the air from your heart space. So energetically imagine pulling that breath in, and that breath expands, builds and grows your heart. And as you exhale, you're sending that breath back out from your heart to the world around you. So begin by just thinking about breathing the air in from the front of your heart and releasing it out of the front of your heart. Once you've gotten that down, you can expand the breath by pulling from all directions. So as you inhale, you're breathing not only in from the front of your heart, but from the sides and the back. Taking air in from all directions, and as you exhale, you're giving that breath back to the earth, to the trees, in all directions. Continuing to breathe in and out from your heart space, notice what you feel. And this breath, when we use it, it's a way that we can connect more deeply with the world around us. A way that we can connect deeper with our heart, our intuition, and our feeling sense. So if ever you're feeling a lot, maybe come back to this breath. Come back to feeling from the heart. And observe from a space of softness and surrender, rather than a space of action. We'll bring hands to meet in front of the heart, and I always like to close class with one resonant sound of Om. It's an option to simply receive this chant, but if you're joining me, take a deep breath in through the nose, fill the body with the breath, exhale out the mouth with a sigh, and then inhale deep to Om. Whenever you're ready, slowly open the eyes. Thank you so much for joining me today for this longer practice. I hope that your body benefits from it today, that you feel more open, more connected, and more mobile, loosey-goosey in the hips. Yeah, I'll be back again next week with another video, so stay tuned, and thank you. So much gratitude. Namaste.